I'm Bruce Lorenz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose, and I am fortunate to be in the 5th and 6th grade building here, opposite the high school, opposite the 7th and 8th grade. What a location for this building. Lincoln, this is a great building, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really great building. I'm liking it a lot.
Yeah, that's okay.
So far.
A lot of people took time and effort to organize this building, didn't they? First of all, there were houses here, and we went ahead, and we'll talk to Dr. Hill possibly later, and they and the board purchased those houses and got the land and got the company, and it turned out very nice, didn't it?
Yeah, I really like how it turned out. This new building is amazing.
It's very, very nice. And what about your favorite subject, Juliet?
I honestly really like every subject.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what has impressed you most about this building?
Honestly, like the general vibe. Like, a lot of kids don't really enjoy school as much as they probably should.
Right.
But I think this year, like in the new building, it really gave kids a bigger opportunity.
Yeah, I think new buildings give people a little pep in their step, and they really anticipate it. And you move from a building that was very, very old. And I was there for 8.5 years, and I can tell you that building has a lot of stories to tell, and now it's going to be businesses and little shops. So that building, it's hard to heat and hard to keep cool, and some students had some problems with down there.
Yeah, this is definitely a big step for students, and I think for Wadsworth as well.
And have you noticed a difference in the teachers?
They're very nice, and the windows are also very great for the classrooms.
Yeah, natural lighting. Yeah, that has a lot to do with people being excited, and natural light. It really, the designers of this building took that into account and have a lot of natural light. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure the district's going to save some money on heating and cooling, and that is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I was down on the tour. I had 2 tours of this building, and I can't believe the size of that gym. And you guys had a pep rally, didn't you? I saw it online, or an activity where all the classes were together.
When was that?
Didn't you have that?
Oh, I wasn't there for that.
Oh, okay, you weren't there? Okay, tell me about that.
So we call it a town hall meeting. It's where the entire school gets together and we address school-wide things like school-wide situations or upcoming events, so anything like that. And also we play games.
So people aren't surprised if something comes up all of a sudden. You're not surprised. You've talked about that, and you know that's coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really good. I really commend the administration for doing that. What again? Were you really looking forward as the summer went on this year for this opening and this school year to begin?
Yeah, I was really, really excited.
Yeah, no question about it. How about you?
I was also really excited, and I thought it was going to be really fun, and it is.
I think it's turned out probably better than people expected, right?
Yeah.
And the auditorium's going to be coming up in the fall, and that's going to be really good. You've been listening and watching the first segment of Bruce on the Loose. We'll be back with Brandon Cobb and Krista. Thank you for the second segment of Bruce on the Loose. We're here at the beautiful 5th and 6th grade building opposite the high school and fairly close to the middle school. Everything right here, and an elementary across the street.
Got it all.
Krista Goddard-Hallecky.
Yes, Bruce on the Loose.
What are your responsibilities as assistant principal?
I work as much as I can to keep day-to-day things running. So any hiccups that come up throughout the day, whether it's student needs or teacher needs, I try to just be available as much as I can, especially lunch and recess. It's a huge part of the day where, students have more freedom and they get that chance to be social and active, and we have our playground space. So I spend a lot of time during that time just making sure kids are, utilizing that the best that they can and enjoying themselves.
A little visibility,
I
would
love
you
it.
say?
Yeah, it's my favorite part of the day.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yes.
What about students that sometimes move in. We're going to have a lot of move-ins. They'll see this building and they say, oh, we got to move to Wadsworth. Will you help them out with their schedule and
Absolutely.
activities?
Absolutely. Today we had actually our new student luncheon.
Okay, wow.
That was coordinated through our guidance department. So our school counselors created an opportunity with our Grizzly leaders, our students who have kind of stepped up to say, hey, I want to be a leader. They had a lunch today in our beautiful new courtyard, and there were yard games like cornhole and Jenga, and just a chance for new students to make those friendships that we know are really important to make you want to come to school.
Brandon, you pinching yourself yet? I mean, you have gone from a relic downtown, which is going to be turned into shops and various activities downtown, to this $50 million facility. You're kind of in the right place at the right time, I guess, right?
Yeah, I feel very blessed to be in this opportunity and work with Mrs. Goddard-Hallecky to provide, education for 5th and 6th graders. So the new building has been amazing, and you're right. It's such a blessing, and it's wild that we're here. We talked about it. I think it was talked about even before I arrived back in Wadsworth, and now it's a reality. And ironically, we talked about the new student luncheon today. We had our first PTO meeting up in our beautiful staff lounge. And so they got a taste of the building also from a different perspective. So it's been a great transition. With transition comes adjustments and learning those new spaces, but really everyone's embracing the new and the opportunity that we get to do this.
I was involved in 2 tours, one with the general public, and then Dr. Hill had pictures and tours, and I didn't hear a negative remark. I mean, all positives, and people say, I wish I would have had this when I was in school. That has to make you feel really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there was, grand opening celebration. There were so many people that came through, and that was rewarding. It was fun. Our kids were excited, and there was a lot of positivity and a lot of excitement. And I think our community has really embraced the idea that, first off, they've given us our opportunity to build a new school and to really provide a promise to our kids that we're going to do better with our facility. So, the big question was, honestly, at a lot of those events is, how are you going to use these different spaces? And that is something we have ideas for, but that's the cool part of a school, is getting creative and figuring out how students are going to want to utilize these spaces and staff. So we have a lot to learn this year, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it's a learning curve, and the staff probably, as the year goes on, probably comes up with ideas that you didn't even think about, and implementing them is maybe a challenge, but it's certainly something good for the students.
Yeah, absolutely. It is fun to watch, and staff will see us taking pictures of things, and they're like, why are you taking a picture? Well, you have a really cool idea on how to use the extended learning area as an informational board for students on what they need to bring to each class, or just the way they're setting up furniture within their classroom or throughout the building. We have just been able to get really creative because we have spaces that are more universal and able to be used in different ways.
5th and 6th graders are very unique.
That they are.
For a lot of districts, they put them with 7th and 8th grade. They sometimes consider them elementary. Wadsworth is kind of, I think, ahead of the game in having one building designated for 5th and 6th grade. Would you agree?
Couldn't agree more. When I was at the middle school as a teacher, what 7th and 8th graders looked like was very different than what 5th and 6th graders look like. And what 5th and 6th grade looks like is different than elementary. So I think we're so lucky, and I talk to other educators that are in different districts, and I hear that all the time. You're so lucky that your 5th and 6th are in their own little world, because I think they still can be fun and quirky and have those relationships that maybe by 7th and 8th grade, they'd start being a little too self-conscious because you start having some peer pressure from the older kids. So the teaming structure that we have set up here, where our teachers work very closely and know the students so well, I think that we're set up for success, and we really can do some cool things with our kids.
And it's nice that teachers work together. I mean, they feel like they're really a part of each student's education.
Oh, absolutely. And we see that. Our teams are so creative in different incentives that they offer for our students. And often we're trying to highlight that so that we can hear from others, hey, did you hear what they're doing over here? This is a great idea. Because just like in the classroom, I mean, the team structure that we have here has that capability to just offer cool things for kids. So
Seemed like I was here for dismissal, and it seemed like things went pretty well. I'm not sure about the first day. We won't maybe look at that, but the buses came in. The students knew that they go out a certain door, and the parents were in front to pick up the kids in the car and go. And, you know, I think things are off to a good start, don't you?
Yes, I do. And it's funny, you brought up the first day. The first day was the most hectic day, and you sound like a veteran principal. Yeah, the first day was hectic, but then after that, we started to get into a groove, and we're finding our groove, and our parents and our families are doing a fabulous job, and we're very appreciative of their efforts. But yes, we were all wondering what it was going to look like at dismissal time, because we're up here on a middle school, high school campus. I call it Grizzly Campus. But they've done a really good job, and they're getting in and out, and I think things are working out smoothly.
And it's nice you're on a little bit different schedule. You're
Yes.
not out with the 7th and 8th, the high school. You're just a little bit after, and I think the congestion isn't quite the same.
Yes, I agree. And honestly, we're getting kids and families out of our parking lot and off of our school grounds way faster than we could at the previous building. So that's been a success.
it's funny, you mentioned the fact that we had that, you know, what does the afternoon look like with transition? We've had so much help too from the other administrators just coming up to help the flow of traffic. We actually had a guest appearance from the Grizzly Bear, which
Oh.
may have been one of the
Yeah.
other administrators on this building, who rode the costume up here on his scooter and then made a nice little appearance at our town hall meeting in the Grizzly Bear costume on a scooter for the kids to see. So the access to resources, now that we're up here and we're so
that's
close to
true.
the others, I think we're gonna have a lot of, I don't know, new opportunities, which is cool.
Any remarks from parents? Are they just as excited as the students are?
I think so. Even just after school today, we had Mrs. Mall walking over a group of students who were going to be involved in the Finding Nemo production up at the high school. They could walk right over and get involved in that practice so much
Right.
easier than they could before when we
Yeah.
were downtown.
Yeah, they had to get cars
Yep.
and get that orchestrated, and it was very difficult.
You got that right.
You really do want kids to get a flavor of various activities, and you know, I know there are a lot of sports in the area, but this is an age where they're acquiring. They're very inquisitive.
Yes, absolutely. Our kids are wonderful, and you know, I know you're interviewing some of our Grizzly leaders on this show, but they're the ones that will tell you, and I still go back to the original process, that our kids were able to tell us what they wanted in a building, and they know what they want, they know what they desire, and they know what helps them learn. So yeah, they've been fantastic, and they're going to help us discover what we can do in this building long term, some of the different ideas and such. So yeah, this is a great age. It's a great age, but it's a trying age, because as I was just talking to a parent here at the end of the day, everyone, you know, it's a melting pot. They all dump into the intermediate school, and for some, that's such a glorious adventure, because they're meeting new friends and they're having new opportunities and a little bit more responsibility, which kids want. They want responsibility with guardrails.
What about the transportation? You know, it seems like we take for granted bus drivers, secretaries, cooks, but without those people doing their job, it would make administration pulling their hair out, what
Yeah.
little they may have. So talk to me about your support staff.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Not only all the ones you mentioned, but also our classroom aides. We're so lucky. We have so many adults that really connect with kids too. We talk about making sure that students here have someone they connect with, and whether it's your teacher or the cafeteria lady or the bus driver, we want to make sure those connections are happening. And we have people who want to be with kids and who make those connections. So I agree. I think that we're lucky to have just additional adults that make this place run, because without them, I don't know what we would do. We would fly around even more than we already do, just trying to, you know, serve the needs that we have here.
I remember in the cafeteria when you were in that age group, Mr. Cobb, that the aides would know a lot of kids and would talk and commend them if they had a new shirt or you know, they didn't eat they tried to urge them to eat their lunch, and you know, it's something, the connection with the aides and tutors and other people it's really big.
Yes, it absolutely is. And I think Krista said it best, just we want our kids to have connection to adults, right? They need positive interactions with other students. They need positive interactions with the adults. And, you know, I was just thinking as you guys were talking, we just had the other day, you know, there's some things being worked on here at the school, and we had a situation where they were working on a part of the building that's not finished, and it affected our sprinkler system, which made our lunch doors come down 2 minutes before lunch started. And again, you just talked about the kitchen staff. The kitchen staff quickly adapted, moved lunch to the back of the kitchen, and we were able to serve kids out of the back just for that first block until we got those doors back open. They help us adapt and quickly move in the day-to-day here at the school. So yeah, I always say they're the backbone, and they're fantastic. And we have great adults who don't get talked about as much as they should. And I'm happy you brought up all of our support staff.
I thought that they were always, you could depend on them. They were always there.
Mm-hmm.
What about if a teacher gets sick?
Mm-hmm.
Substitute teachers are, this building would probably allow more people to maybe sign up and say, hey, I want to see that
I want
building.
to see that building.
I want to
I
do
do
there.
feel like we've had a little less of a hard time filling spots this year. People want to see the building, they want to be with our kids. Honestly, this is a cool age where students are somewhat independent. They're able to work on things on their own, but the content's also not too challenging where an adult can pop in and probably get through a lesson if needed. And our students hear from us all the time, you know, any guest in our building, we want them to feel welcomed and to be respected, and we want them to want to come back. So I think our students do a nice job of helping to run the class as much as they can to help the sub have a good day. But that also starts with our teachers. Our teachers train our students, hey, you're going to be my maybe paper passer outer, or you're going to take this down, you know, so they have little school class jobs that help also make things just run as much as they can when maybe a substitute's in the room.
How about we go into another location of the building coming up for segment 3 on Bruce on the Loose. Back with another segment of Bruce on the Loose, and we have Steve Moore, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Andy Hill with us in the beautiful gym. Wadsworth on the baseline here, Andy. I'm just amazed at the size of this gym. It is beautiful.
Yeah, the whole facility is just amazing. You know, there was a lot of planning that went into this, a lot of detail. And so we couldn't be prouder of the way that it turned out.
Yeah, Krista told us that the teachers were very much involved in the planning of this, and I think they certainly would buy in a little quicker if they had something to say about it.
Yeah, not only the teachers, but also the students. Our architect made that a part of the process. Steve and Brandon and Krista really took the charge and led all of that throughout the whole planning, and a lot of interaction and collaboration with our teachers and to some extent our students as well with decisions along the way. And our Board of Education, as we went through, it was a lengthy process to get here. And as we went through having to do revisions and other things as we battled escalating costs, the board put a lot of value on hearing on the whole list of all these items that would be laid out. Like, we had a 5.5-hour meeting in July of '23, and they had a very strong interest to hear what was important to our teachers, what was important to our students, and they made sure that they prioritized those things as they went through and made some changes and revisions and other things.
Yeah, things don't always go according to Hoyle, Steve, and I just am amazed at the campus outlook. Here we have 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th, 9 through 12, and then there's an elementary right around the corner as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was high school principal when they first pitched the idea of throwing an intermediate school building here right here at this. And I wasn't real thrilled about it as high school principal, but now as you see it happen and what it is, and really the idea behind it was getting all the shared services together and having the whole campus and a Grizzly campus that we have here is really amazing. It's worked out great. I know the fears that we've had, a lot of traffic concerns, have really, the first month of the year, have really been dispelled because the traffic flow's been fine. It's busier up here, but it is, the parents have understood what it is. The buses are getting the hang of how getting over here. It does not interfere with the high school and middle school traffic at all, and it's been really, really good. So it's been a nice transition, and having it here has allowed us to share some things that we normally wouldn't do. You know, when you have, your maintenance staff can be up here around 5 through 12, 3 big buildings here, and can get things accomplished. We can share some people, we can share some staffing, we can share some equipment. It's been really, really effective. And I think, you know, some of the challenge with the elementary school being right across the street, it just, you know, we got to navigate that broad street, and you know, we're still working on items to get that navigated there, but you know, hopefully that can be done in the near future.
It's a long haul. People think, you know, maybe a year or two,
Yeah.
but as Dr. Hill mentioned, 2023.
Yeah.
That's quite a ways.
Yeah, it's been a long process, and really, and it's had its challenges all the way through for, you know, several years to get to where we are. But to see how our kids and our staff have reacted to the opening of the building has been really satisfying. It's a phenomenal facility, and it really, you know, and we're in the gym here. We're in one of my favorite spots here because it just screams Wadsworth. It's got a lot of red. It's got the Wadsworth, got Grizzlies, got the Grizzly paw. It's got the best logo in the state of Ohio at our center court there, the Grizzly paw with the W in it. It's really great. I love how our common spaces just scream Wadsworth with a lot of red, a lot of things here in the building. And then the teachers, the classrooms and stuff are a little generic in color so that the teachers can then decorate it how they want to, and they've done a phenomenal job here. As you walk through our building and see how that looks, they've really made it their classroom, and that's been really exciting to see.
Andy, the citizens of Wadsworth take a lot of pride in their schools, and they really support, even senior citizens step forward. And the levy was kind of unique. It was kind of operating, and also it proposed a new building.
Yeah, it was a combination levy in November of 21, and you know, a lot of people came together to put together a campaign to get the information out to our community, including you, Bruce, and we appreciate that. And you know, we never are lost on the fact that this community is super supportive of schools and has historically been. You know, when you look at our facilities, this is, you know, the last piece of buildings that are pretty much new since 2000. And we look at what was designed here, what the community stepped forward and supported during a tough time. And then you look back at what they did in another tough period of time in the 2009 timeframe with passing a bond issue to do the high school, the 3 elementaries, the renovation of the old Overlook Elementary School that's now the Grizzly Academy. And then, you know, you tack on that they also passed an operating levy for us in combination with the bond issue. And so, you know, this building, you know, I think we talked about it the night that we opened it with the ribbon cutting and a few other occasions when we were speaking to the senior center and others. But I think our Board of Education had a real challenge on their hands once we passed that bond issue, as they dealt with escalating prices that our construction manager at risk and architectural firms said were unprecedented, that they had never seen. And I think when you walk and see this facility and what we were able to do, what our board was able to make happen, I think if you go back and look at what we showed the community leading up to November of 21 when they voted, I think that we came through and delivered. Our board delivered to the community on the promises for the space that our kids would be educated in here for the 5th and 6th grade. And so it's just, we're extremely fortunate and lucky to have the community support that we do.
Steve, what about the theater? I've, on the tour with Dr. Hill, a couple people asked me, hey, what about the theater? I said, well,
Yeah, it's,
around the corner.
yeah, it's coming along nicely. I was in there today, in fact, just taking a look and getting a little update on the progress. It's coming along nice, it's beautiful. It's going to look a lot like our high school theater, except it's going to have a balcony. So it's going to increase size by about 250 people, will be a 1,000-seat auditorium, which will be really nice, which will help us in some of our concerts that we have that at our high school that have not quite, we sell out. So it'll be nice. Again, another benefit of being here on the campus is we now can share facilities rather easily. But it's coming along nicely. We hope to have it open in December, some mid-December, but we're not sure yet. We haven't named anything. We haven't really have scheduled anything yet because we're not sure. And when we do, we certainly will make sure everyone's aware, but we want to have a grand opening for that as well. You know, we're hoping to have our first, whatever the first concert in there be, probably something involving the 5th and 6th grade level here would be really exciting to have that and be here. But we haven't quite got to that yet, but it is on track to be open in mid-December, certainly by January at the latest, I would think. But yeah, we're hoping to get some Christmas cheer in our new auditorium will be our plan.
Really well-rounded students, you know, band, chorus, speech and debate.
Yeah.
Wadsworth seems to really like those programs.
Well, it is, and we really are a AAA school. We really are. Athletics and arts and academics. The arts programs that we have here at Wadsworth, I will rival against anybody in the state of Ohio, including Playhouse Square. We have phenomenal arts programs that are just great, from our band and choir to the drama department. If you haven't been to any of those, you need to get out and see them. Our marching band does a phenomenal job. Concert season coming up right after that, but all the plays that happen, and you know, we justified to build a bigger auditorium because of the success of those programs, that having people show up and come and really want to be part of that. So it's thrilling. It's cheap entertainment, and it's very valuable, and it's great for our kids, and our staff do a great job with it.
I'm really impressed with the location. You know, everything is kind of here. Elementaries are kind of at their site, and that was planned, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yes, you know, when we were looking around, we started, Mr. Kaufman worked with us to look at areas where this school could potentially be located once the CIS committee had made their recommendations to the board back in 2017. And at that time, this wasn't a possibility, but as we worked through the process, as things became available, as we had people with good vision, like our architectural firm, be able to show us how this could actually look. I think that this turned out to be a phenomenal location, like Steve talked about earlier. And you know, there's a few logistical things that we're working through, confident that we will. We're figuring out how to include within our strategic plan a new entrance and exit that aligns for overlook with the light on Broad Street to help alleviate some of the traffic congestion that happens out there down at the entrance for their school now. So as we continue to work through that and make some adjustments, you know, we're confident that traffic will not be an issue that maybe some thought it would be. But it's the leveraging of efficiencies, the ability for kids to be able to go back and forth between buildings for classes and other things opens up a world of opportunity that was more challenging before.
We'll be back with our final segment in just a moment. I'm Bruce Lorenz, and I'm signing off, and hope you enjoyed the 5th and 6th grade building here in Wadsworth. Thank you very much.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.